The graduation party. At the edge of a bustling city, where the lights danced like stars and laughter echoed in the air, I found myself caught in a web of unexpected emotions. It was a warm Saturday evening, and the atmosphere was alive with anticipation. My stepson Jake had just graduated high school and was throwing a promotion party to celebrate his achievement. I was proud of him. He had worked hard, and tonight was a night for joy and celebration. The preparation had started early that morning. I'd helped Jake set up the backyard, stringing fairy lights between the trees and setting up tables draped in white cloth. He'd been nervous about the party, wanting everything to be perfect for his friends. "Do you think they'll have fun?" he'd asked me, his usual confidence wavering for just a moment. "They'll love it," I'd assured him, ruffling his dark hair. "You thought of everything." Now, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the house was filled with the scent of grilled burgers and the sound of music spilling from speakers. Friends and family gathered in the backyard, where those fairy lights we'd hung earlier twinkled overhead, casting a magical glow that transformed our ordinary space into something enchanted. Jake's friends, Matt and Tyler, were particularly boisterous, their laughter infectious as they tossed around a football. They were good kids. I'd known them since they were freshmen, watching them grow from awkward teenagers into the confident young men they were now. Matt, with his sandy blonde hair and easy smile, had always been the charmer of the group. Tyler, quieter but equally magnetic with his piercing blue eyes and athletic build, often let his actions speak louder than words. But tonight, they seemed charged with a new energy, a hint of mischief lurking in their eyes that I couldn't quite place. As the evening progressed, I noticed them stealing glances my way, their smiles widening as they shared some inside joke. I brushed it off at first, thinking they were just being playful. After all, they'd always been friendly with me. However, the way they looked at me sent a shiver down my spine, igniting a spark of curiosity I didn't quite understand. I was dressed casually in a soft sundress that flowed with the evening breeze, a pale blue number with delicate flowers that my sister had convinced me to buy last week. "You need to stop dressing like a soccer mom," she'd teased. "You're still young and beautiful." It was a far cry from what I usually wore, and maybe that was part of the reason I felt exposed under their gaze. The playful teasing escalated as the night wore on. When I brought out a fresh pitcher of lemonade, Matt called out, "Looking good tonight, Mrs. K." His tone was different than usual, not the polite compliment of a teenager, but something more mature, more aware. "Just Kelly is fine," I replied, feeling heat rise to my cheeks. "You boys aren't in high school anymore." "That's right," Tyler added, his voice deeper than I remembered. "We're all adults now." Their laughter rang in my ears as they dared each other to approach me throughout the evening. I could feel my heart race each time they drew near, an unexpected thrill coursing through my veins that both excited and confused me. Around 9 o'clock, as the older relatives began to make their excuses and leave, the party transformed. The atmosphere became more relaxed, more intimate. Jake's younger cousins had been picked up, and only the core group of friends remained, about 8 of us, including Jake's girlfriend Sarah, who was eyeing the boys with amused suspicion. At one point, Jake, oblivious to the tension that had been building all evening, suggested a game. "Let's play truth or dare," he announced, a mischievous grin on his face that reminded me of when he was younger and up to no good. The group erupted in cheers, and before I could voice my hesitation, surely I was too old for teenage games, Jake had grabbed my hand. "Come on, Kelly, don't be a party pooper. It'll be fun." And so I found myself sitting in a circle on the soft grass with the boys and girls, my heart pounding with both excitement and trepidation. The night air was warm against my skin, and the fairy lights cast shadows that danced across everyone's faces, making the moment feel dreamlike and surreal. The game started innocently enough. Truths revealed embarrassing childhood stories. Jake admitted to still sleeping with a nightlight until he was 15, which earned him good-natured ribbing. Dares involved silly antics that left us all in fits of laughter. Sarah had to sing the national anthem in a British accent, and one of the other boys had to do 20 push-ups while reciting the alphabet backward. But as the bottle spun and landed on me, I felt a rush of adrenaline. I could sense their eyes on me, waiting for my reaction, curiosity sparkling in their gazes. The circle seemed to lean in closer, the air thick with anticipation. "Truth or dare?" Jake asked, his eyes twinkling with mischief. I hesitated for a moment, weighing my options. Truth felt too vulnerable. What if they asked something I wasn't prepared to answer? "Dare," I said, my voice steady despite the flutter in my stomach. They exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between the boys that I couldn't quite decipher. Then Matt, with a grin that hinted at something deeper, leaned in closer. The scent of his cologne, something woody and masculine, drifted toward me. "I dare you to kiss the person on your left," he challenged, nodding toward Tyler, who sat beside me. The air thickened with tension, and I felt everyone's eyes on us. Sarah giggled nervously, and someone whispered, "Oh, this is getting interesting." I hesitated, my mind racing. It was just a game, I reminded myself. Just a silly dare, nothing more. Yet, as I turned to face Tyler, I felt the heat radiating between us. His blue eyes sparkled with mischief, but there was something else there too, a hunger that made my breath catch. "You don't have to," he said quietly, just loud enough for me to hear. But the way he said it, the slight disappointment in his voice, made me want to prove that I wasn't afraid. Before I could second-guess myself, I leaned in, pressing my lips against his in what was meant to be a light, teasing kiss. But the moment our lips touched, something electric passed between us. Tyler's hand came up to cup my cheek, and what should have been a quick peck lengthened into something more. The world around us seemed to fade away for those few seconds. When we pulled apart, laughter erupted, but it was different this time, charged, electric. Jake's whoop of laughter echoed above the others. but I caught the way Tyler's gaze lingered on me, an intensity that sent a thrill through my core. My lips tingled from the kiss, and I could still taste the hint of mint from his breath. "Damn, Tyler," Matt exclaimed. "Leave some for the rest of us." The comment should have been a joke, but the way he said it, the look in his eyes, suggested he was only half kidding. The game continued, but something had shifted in the air. The dares became bolder, the truths more revealing. Each turn brought a new layer of intimacy, a deeper connection that was impossible to ignore. When Sarah dared two of the girls to switch shirts, when another boy admitted to having a crush on his best friend's sister, when Jake confessed that he'd been scared about leaving for college, each revelation seemed to strip away the barriers between us. As the bottle spun again, this time landing on Jake, he looked at me, a playful glint in his eyes. "Dare," he declared, leaning back with confidence, his arms spread wide as if embracing whatever challenge would come. I felt a sense of unease, not because I was afraid of what he would choose, but because of the implications. The dynamic had changed, and I was acutely aware of the two boys beside me, their eyes fixed on the interaction. The maternal part of me wanted to suggest something safe, something that would dial back the tension. But another part of me, a part I'd kept buried for too long, wanted to fan the flames. I took a breath, deciding to up the ante. "I dare you to kiss your best friend," I said, my heart racing. The words came out more breathlessly than I'd intended. Jake looked at Matt, who laughed and nodded. "Come here, you beautiful bastard," Matt joked, opening his arms wide. They leaned in, their laughter mixing with the sound of their lips meeting in a quick, playful kiss. It was harmless on the surface, yet charged with an energy that electrified the space. The girls squealed with delight, and someone shouted, "Get a room." As they pulled away, both boys were grinning, but I caught the way Matt's eyes found mine immediately after, as if seeking my reaction. I couldn't shake the feeling that we had crossed an invisible line, that the game had become something more than just teenage fun. The night continued, with more dares, more truths, more moments that pushed boundaries. When the game finally wound down, Sarah and the other girls called an Uber, citing early morning plans. "This was fun," Sarah said, giving Jake a long kiss goodbye. "But maybe too much fun," she added with a knowing look in my direction. As the last of the other guests began to leave, I found myself standing alone with Jake, Matt, and Tyler. The night had grown cooler, but the air between us was still charged, cloaked in a heady mix of excitement and tension. The fairy lights cast a soft glow over the backyard, and the distant sound of city traffic reminded me that the real world still existed beyond this bubble we'd created. "Hey, can we talk?" Jake asked, his voice lower, more serious than I'd heard it all night. I nodded, curiosity bubbling within me as we moved to a quieter corner of the yard, near the old oak tree where Jake used to have his tire swing. The sounds of the party faded into the background, leaving only the rhythm of our hearts echoing in the silence. My sundress waved gently in the breeze, and I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly feeling vulnerable. "I know tonight was crazy," Jake began, his eyes searching mine in the dim light. "But I want you to know that it wasn't just a game for us." The way he spoke sent a shiver down my spine. I looked at Matt and Tyler, who stood close, their expressions a mix of anticipation and something deeper, something that made my stomach flip with nervous excitement. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady though I could hear the tremor in it. "It's just, we've been friends for a long time, and lately, we've all been noticing things," Tyler said, stepping forward. "The way you laugh, the way you care about everyone, how beautiful you looked tonight. We all felt this connection. It was electric, and we don't want it to end here." His gaze locked onto mine, the sincerity in his voice palpable. In the soft light, I could see the man he'd become, no longer the shy boy who used to help Jake with his math homework at our kitchen table. I felt a whirlwind of emotions: confusion, excitement, fear. My mind raced with the implications of what they were suggesting. "What are you saying?" I whispered, my heart racing so fast I was sure they could hear it. "We want to explore this chemistry between us," Matt said, stepping closer, the heat radiating from him as our eyes met. "It doesn't have to be just a game. It can be real. We're all adults now, all capable of making our own choices." The air around us thickened, and I could feel the intensity of their words wrapping around me like a cocoon. I was torn, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. I was their friend's stepmom. I'd been in Jake's life since he was 12. But the way they looked at me ignited something within, something that had been dormant for too long. It was wrong, society would say, yet it felt so right in this moment. "This is crazy," I said, but my protest sounded weak even to my own ears. "Jake, I've been your stepmom for 6 years. Matt, Tyler, I've watched you all grow up. I made you sandwiches after school, drove you to football practice, and we're grateful for all of that." Jake interrupted, his voice gentle but firm. "But we're not kids anymore, Kelly. We see you as you are, a beautiful, vibrant woman who deserves to be desired, to be happy." Before I could respond, Jake leaned in, his hand gently touching my arm. "May I?" he asked, his eyes searching mine for permission. I should have stepped back. I should have laughed it off, sent them home, pretended this conversation never happened. Instead, I found myself nodding, my breath catching as Jake brushed his lips against mine again. This time it was more than just a playful kiss. It was full of longing, desire, and a promise of something deeper. His lips were soft but insistent, and I could taste the sweetness of the punch we'd been drinking. I melted into him, my heart racing as Matt and Tyler stepped closer, their presence amplifying the heat of the moment. I could feel Tyler's hand gently touch my back, a gesture of support and desire combined. Matt moved to my other side, his fingers barely grazing my arm, sending shivers through my entire body. The world around us faded, and I was lost in the intoxicating thrill of what was happening. I kissed Jake back, feeling alive in a way I hadn't in years. When we broke apart, breathless and wide-eyed, I realized we had stepped into uncharted territory. This wasn't just a game anymore. It was a dance of emotions, a tangled web of desire and connection that none of us knew how to navigate. "What happens now?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, looking at each of them in turn. Their faces were illuminated by the soft lights, each wearing an expression of hope and desire that made my knees weak. "We take it slow," Matt suggested, his eyes filled with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. "We explore this together. No pressure, no expectations. Just see where it leads. And if it doesn't work out," Tyler added, his voice reassuring, "we'll always have tonight. But I think we owe it to ourselves to try." Jake nodded, taking my hand in his. "We've all felt this pull for months now. Tonight just brought it to the surface. But Kelly, this is your choice. We would never want you to do anything you're not comfortable with." I looked at these 3 young men, boys I'd watched become adults, each special in their own way. Jake with his confidence and charm, Matt with his humor and warmth, Tyler with his quiet intensity and kindness. The rational part of my brain screamed that this was complicated, potentially messy, definitely unconventional. But my heart was singing a different tune. "Okay," I breathed, barely believing the word as it left my lips. "Let's see where this goes. But slowly, like you said. And secretly, this stays between us for now." Their faces lit up with joy and relief. Jake squeezed my hand, Matt's grin widened, and Tyler's eyes sparkled with promise. With that agreement, we began a new journey, one that would blur the lines of everything I thought I knew about relationships and propriety. It was an adventure that would be filled with stolen moments, shared secrets, and an underlying current of passion that would bring us closer than I ever imagined possible. Each glance would carry weight. Each accidental touch would ignite sparks. Each moment together would be both thrilling and terrifying. And so, in the warm glow of that unforgettable graduation night, I found myself at the beginning of something extraordinary. As we stood there under the stars, the fairy lights casting their magic over us, I realized that the story had just begun. The thrill of the unknown was a tantalizing promise waiting to unfold, and despite all the reasons I should walk away, I couldn't wait to see where this unconventional path would lead us. The night air carried the scent of jasmine from the neighbor's garden, and somewhere in the distance, a car horn honked, reminding me that life continued beyond this moment. But for now, in this perfect bubble of possibility, anything seemed possible. "Thank you," Tyler said softly, speaking for all of them, "for being brave enough to take this chance with us." I smiled, feeling younger than I had in years. "I should be thanking you for reminding me that life can still surprise me." As we finally made our way back toward the house, walking closer together than before, I knew that everything had changed. tomorrow would bring questions, doubts, and probably a fair amount of second guessing. But tonight was ours, and it was just the beginning. So join me on this wild ride, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more heart-pounding tales of unexpected love, forbidden desire, and the courage to embrace life's most surprising moments.